How's it going, everybody? Man, it's getting pretty hot out lately. We're hitting the triple digits already. It's that time of year. So we thought we would take a break from being in the garage, working under some grimy BMWs, and reconnect with nature. Now, I know everyone who's watching these videos are car people, and you've probably seen the news. Toyota, man, they are bringing out the hotness lately. We got Tundras, Sequoias, Land Cruisers, GXs, Tacomas, and 4Runners. But man, they are hitting a pretty hefty price tag. So today, we thought we would bring out our Toyotas and really try to answer the question, do we really need this new tech and shiny new toys? Or will this do everything we need? Let's find out. Figure we'd start things off with this old workhorse. This is my 2006 Toyota 4Runner. I've owned it for just about 7 years now, pushing 206,000 miles. It makes me happy, it does its thing, and what makes it special to me at least, she's got 8 V's, baby. Count it, 1, 2, 8.
And I went in a little bit of a different direction. This is my 2011 Toyota FJ Cruiser. It's got about 164,000 miles on it. I've owned it for 4 years. And my favorite thing about this truck is, come back here, come on, come take a look. Peek in, don't spook it. It's that thing right there, 6-speed manual. Oh.
So, before we get to the comparisons, we kind of need to put a few things on the table. For those of you with a keen eye, these vehicles are slightly modified. So we want to go front to back and talk about what we've done to these trucks. And just so you're aware, there might be a few copy and paste here and there between the trucks, but we think that's a good thing. So we'll just get right into it. This right here is a bumper from a company called Lil B's up in Denver, Colorado. I got this bumper maybe, 4 or 5 years ago. And it wasn't as expensive as they are today, but this is what I got up front. I used to have a winch, but it decided that it didn't want to work anymore, and I didn't want the paperweight, so that went bye-bye. Let's roll in over here. Come on. We got Yokohama Geolandar MT-G003s. These are a 285/75 R17 on an RRW. Don't know the offset, don't know the name of it, but it's a 17-inch wheel. If you can peek in here, we got the belle of the ball. We got Ironman's foam cell technology, super spiffy, super green suspension that comes with an aftermarket cast aluminum upper control arm to help the caster, and springs to help with the lift, which is about 3, maybe 4 inches. And that's what we got here.
I went a little bit different direction. This is a coastal off-road DIY front bumper, not tubular, but a lot cheaper than a lot of stuff you can get nowadays. It just came in a pile of metal, and we and a couple of our buddies got a welder, welded it all together, sprayed it, installed it. This thing's been on here for a couple years now. It looks sick. It's awesome. I do have a winch in here, an Ironman 9,500-pound winch. Haven't really needed it because you find out that you don't really need these things all the time unless you're going super hardcore. Coming around to the side, I have the exact same tire. we had a buddy who has a Land Cruiser. He was rocking these things. They were sick. We were coming from all terrains. We wanted to spruce it up a little bit. We did. It's awesome. Very similar wheels. Same RRWs. A little bit different. You'll notice that mine are a little round here at the bottom versus the sharp pointy ones on his. But same color and everything. I was planning on going a different direction because Justin got his wheels first, and he's then randomly sent me a link to a crazy good deal on these things where I could get all 5 for a crazy price, and I couldn't turn it down. So that's the direction that I went instead. zoom in underneath, you really not much to see here because it's the pretty much exact same suspension. These foam cells, they're just so great for overlanding and, you know, a lot of small undulations over a long period of time, like at a slower pace versus like a reservoir system. Because a reservoir system, that's really for Baja. You want to be a really high rate of speed, going really fast, bombing over sand dunes and stuff like that to even activate that reservoir. It's pretty much overkill for the mountains and the woods and stuff like that. So
That's what we do.
but yeah, this has worked so well for both of us, and it rides like a cloud on all these back roads up here. It's been fantastic. And then the other thing I have on mine, I have the rock sliders right here. They're a little scuffed up, probably need a little respray, but because they've been, you know, we've used them a little bit, you know. I'm not afraid of taking this truck out off road, but yeah, that's mostly what I got going on out here. Oh, one more thing. I built this rack system back here. These are for my roto packs, you know, if I'm ever, you know, need to take some fuel and do an extended trip, excuse me. Trip. I set this up in a way that I have not bolted anything permanent to the car. This is like a heavy duty suction cup right here. It's not going anywhere. And then I brought it up here and mounted it off the roof rack right here. So it's just suspended off the side of the car. They've worked wonderfully. I kind of came up with this idea a couple years ago and they have not let me down. So if you guys are interested in kind of like what I did, the parts for that, if you think it's cool, I'm happy to do a little bit deeper dive on that. If you don't care at all, I still think it's cool. I've never done anything like that before. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I got going on.
All right. So we thought to compare old versus new, we would start off with the interior since this is where you're going to be spending most of your time. Now, just want to give a disclaimer, this is the limited trim. So this is the highest trim 4Runner you can buy of this time. So we have, don't need those, dual climate control. We have heated seats. And on some models you could get an actual air ride rear suspension, but this one doesn't have that. And there was a factory navigation that this one also didn't have. So a couple of lectures, but anyway, I'm going off the point. But what I do want to talk about is, look at this thing. I feel like they took a lot of good time to think about the ergonomics. Everything is laid out well here. AC buttons are easy to get to. Four-wheel drive stuff is over here. We have a locking center diff. There's a button called the RSCA, something. Long story short, it allows you to, I think, almost fully disable your side curtain airbag, so if you tilt too much, you don't go off. That's nice. There's an AC plug inside the center console, so that way you can plug in a few things. It's only 115 volts, so it's not crazy. It's not like the new hybrids, but big whoop. I don't need to be making an espresso in my front seat anyway. Coming across back to the front, I did add an aftermarket stereo to implement Apple CarPlay. I got this little aftermarket piece. I think the company is called Rago, R-A-G-O, something like that. But it's cool. It allows me to mount my CB, allows me to put my phone, hook it up to Apple CarPlay, and it's a MOLLE panel, so you can add all your other overlanding junk that no one ever really needs to use. But all that aside, I think this is a really well thought out interior, very flat. People who have Tacomas, the new gen, please tell me, what do you see here? Doesn't move. I don't know why. For some reason, it seems like Toyota's been skimping a little bit. But hey, that's not for me to judge.
So right out of the bat, the whole side of the truck is open with both doors open, and it just looks so cool. It's so accessible when you're doing camp and stuff. I love that. But come on in here to this interior. The manual, the floor mounted transfer case, it feels so mechanical. I really love that. Very chunky buttons, you know, everything is supposed to be operatable with gloves and stuff like that. Like, it's, you know, extremely functional, and it really is just designed to stay out of your way, which I think is something that's really important about an off-roader. Like, all these new fancy screens and the front mounted cameras and all that stuff it's nice, but like, we're out in nature. We're not supposed to be looking at screens. So like, for all this stuff to just be like just be there for you, but not commanding your attention, I think is like a big plus. Up here, you know, we got a compass because it's an off-roader. We got the inclometer. If this thing is ever doing anything interesting, your eyes, this is the last place your eyes are supposed to be. You never see it when it's doing something cool at all. I mounted my CV up here on the headliner. Love it up here. Like, yeah, it's great. Yeah, you know, this thing is coming after you again, Toyota.
Solid
Yeah,
again.
no crazy clunking.
Fortune Tacoma.
Yeah, like I actually really appreciate the truck being this way. Yeah, I didn't change the head unit or anything. It's a 2011, so the Bluetooth will connect to my phone. I can do hands-free calling. I can change the music and all that stuff. It's just enough to let me have a good time while not completely, you know, pulling me out of the experience. So that's something I think honestly is a plus for.
Well, it seems like the new vehicles are spending so much R&D on isolating you from nature.
Yes.
Like the fact that it's a flex that the new vehicles have acoustic glass and more NVH. It's like, yeah, we want to make sure the nature you're in, you can't experience it.
Right.
You got cameras for that.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to keep you completely isolated from what you're trying to do. I feel like this is a much more raw, real way to experience this activity, which is, yeah, it's so fun. Why are you trying to close yourself off from it? So, that's what I got going on in here. Hey, just wanted to pop in real quick and say thanks for checking out our video. If you like what you see, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We're a growing channel and your support would mean the world to us. And let us know down in the comments if you have one of these old Toyotas or one of the new ones. Are we on to something or just coping? Let us know down below. Alright, let's get back to the video. Okay guys, so where are we going with this? I paid about $15,000 for this truck back in 2020, and Justin paid about the same when he got his. You know, to get him to sit like this with the rubber, with the suspension, with all the doohickeys and fun stuff, we put another, like, let's say $5,000 in. So we're both in about $20K each.
About the price of a down payment today. You get a whole car.
That, like, you could buy both these trucks built the way that they are and still come in cheaper than the Land Cruiser. That's really wild because I don't think that the Land Cruiser is doing more than double what these trucks can do. Like I just don't really see it. There's so much functionality that just hasn't really changed. So many features that haven't really changed since the mid 2000s.
No, there's still double wishbone front independent suspension, solid axle with coils. The geometry is probably almost identical. I know the front ends have been changed, but it's still the same formula.
Yeah, these are 34-inch tires that fit with very little modification. I know you can stuff 35s and 37s on the new one, but these have gotten us everywhere. We have not felt, this has not been the part that has slowed down these trucks at all. Like, this is a lot of meat for this. The thing about these trucks is that they were both built before the Great Recession. And I think that actually is something that needs to be considered when you're talking about all these vehicles. Something happened in 2009 where all of a sudden all of these car manufacturers started cutting corners. Everyone was trying to save money. And so like the 5th gen 4Runner is built on this exact same frame, and they you know, it wasn't like a brand new truck. They like heavily refreshed this one.
Yeah, legend has it they wanted to cancel it because the Highlander sales were so good. These didn't sell very well. So at the last minute, they decided, oh, we should keep a 4Runner, kept this frame, kept the 4.0 that's from this vehicle, and just made a bigger body on it. But from 2003 to 2022, it's still exactly the same bones.
Yeah. And then you come over this thing, they stopped selling this in 2014 because like the economy just like, there just wasn't the market for it. Everyone was hurting. So like, you know, it was a little too pricey, too specific for, you know, for the time period. So the vehicles that are coming out after this, they're throwing in all this tech and all this new stuff, but it's based on this like, this more modern business model of like not delivering the greatest possible product, but like how are we returning shareholder value? That's a joke in these, you know, in this day and age, but that really is something that needs to be considered.
It's a direct insult for the Tacoma and 4Runner. I'm talking the 4th gen and the 6th gen to run on the exact same frame, have the exact same, from the B pillar forward, exact same interior, have the exact same engine. What I'm trying to get at is everything is exactly the same, and yet the prices keep increasing. Production has never been more mainstream, yet they just think, oh, we can throw an extra $20,000 at the TRD Pro and people will just buy it.
Yep.
Like, that is insane.
Yeah. It's so much for the same, the same trucks, the same formula, the same style. Like, you know, these things, they really went to the mat when they were making these things. So it's just something to consider when we're going, you know, apples to oranges on this stuff.
Something that's always talked about when it comes to these trucks, regardless if it's important or not, is the gas mileage. You know, we know what we're getting into. Everyone knows what we're doing, but it still comes down to what kind of gas mileage can I get from these things. The new generation vehicles have been out long enough. Everyone's already thrown the kitchen sink. They have lift 35s, boxes, the whole 9 yards. And 15-ish miles per gallon is what those are getting. Take this for instance, 4.7 liter V8, all-time four-wheel drive, lift, tires, 34s, not 35s, 15 and a half. It got 19 when it was fully stocked. So, I mean, you can't do a miles per gallon comparison because they're exactly the same. Let's go down here a little bit. One thing that's kind of got me a little ticked off from Toyota is now they finally got their head out of their ass and offer a disconnectable front sway bar. But what they also decided to do is after you get a TRD off-road, spend another $4 to $8 grand on an option package, they have the audacity to say, hey, you want that sway bar gone? That's another grand, baby. You know what I did? For $0.00, I did a sway bar delete. And it's completely fine.
This FJ, manual transmission, center locking diff, rear locking diff, full-time four-wheel drive. Name me a new Toyota that can do all of those things.
All of them.
All of them. You can get a manual on just the Tacoma. I don't know why they didn't put the manual on the 4Runner, but you can't have full-time four-wheel drive. You can't have the double locking diffs. Jump over to the Land Cruiser. You can have the double locking diffs. You can't have the manual. You know, you're making the concessions everywhere. They just they threw the whole kitchen sink at this thing. These trucks are going everywhere that these new trucks are going. You know, like it's they have the moxie, they have the juice. Like, they are fun, capable, cheaper, much cheaper off-roaders. This is such an easier way to get into the world of overlanding and off-roading and stuff like that. You don't have to feel bad about scratching up the paint. You know, you can pay it off faster. That's probably the biggest thing, the best mod that we have on these trucks. The title mod. We both own these trucks. No monthly payments. Like, there's nothing like it. I can drive this into the river right now, and it's like it's on me, baby. It's no bank involved. There's something to be said about this generation, man. I really think that they were really firing on all cylinders, and they had 8 of them.
8 V's, baby.
But yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's that.
Whew. All right. So how do we conclude such a spicy video like that? Well, first off, check out our channel. We got a lot of videos on a lot of different projects. We would love to get your opinion on other things. But to tie around this video, tie the noose around our necks, whatever. Hey, this isn't bashing anyone who can afford the new trucks. If you can buy them outright, nice down payment, put your firstborn as collateral, whatever. If you're comfortable with it, you love it, that's cool. I would love to buy your truck in 10 to 15 years. But at the end of the day, don't knock off these older trucks. You know, they're cheaper, they have no reliability, they have a huge aftermarket, and best of all, they can take you anywhere. So on that, just enjoy what you have. Hate, don't hate, let us know in the comments. Please consider subscribing. And for those of you who made it this far, we have a little surprise for you. Check out the link down below. We got 28% off your FitVille shoes. Use Auto28 at checkout, and you'll love the way you feel.